First one is about the Selenium WebDriver architecture, how it is working. Like in the backend, what is happening in Selenium WebDriver? It is not simply like just we are writing one command to dot click is there and it is directly performing the action, but something is happening behind inside the Selenium WebDriver, right? And this can be an interview question if you will notice, because maybe they will ask what is the working of the Selenium WebDriver, how it works, how it perform and interacts directly with your web browser, right? So this is the main one. For the architecture, you must understand it. So Selenium WebDriver architecture is designed to support the cross browser testing and the parallel testing. So I have not written much, so this is the one step. See this diagram. So what happens basically? First of all, what we have to do, we have to download the Selenium jar file based on the language that we are selecting, to write down our script. Suppose if we are downloading, if we are comfortable with Selenium with Java, so in that case we will download the Selenium Java client library. If we are using Python, we will use the Selenium Python client library, or C sharp with the C sharp. Once we have downloaded this, it is having some methods like dot click method is there, dot send keys method is there, or some wait actions are there, that is there. Okay, we have written some logic here. Now what will happen, whenever we are using some command, these actions, it will happen based on the HTTP, because our web browser is basically a HTTP request is there, work on that basis. So in the similar way, our WebDriver also internally use the API only. Okay, you know about API that we use in our automation or in our API testing we do. So in the
Yes.
similar way, Selenium WebDriver also use the API internally to communicate with your web browser. What it will do, it will send the request to the web browser. Okay, it will send first it will send to the browser driver, whatever driver is there, it will send the request to the driver in the format of a API JSON format. It will send like this is the command that I am sending, this is the value that I am sending for the send keys, or this is the some another actions that I am sending. It will send in the API form to the browser driver. Then browser driver will understand, okay, this is the value and that has to be performed, and this on this particular locator I need to perform. That locators also will be sent in our a request only, API request, like locator, like for the button locator or for a field locator. All these details it will send in the API request. API request will interact with the browser driver, and then browser driver perform the same actions over the HTTP request with the web browser application, and it will perform some action. If any output has to be come, then it will interact, it will give in the response, API response will be there. It will give the response to the browser driver, and then it will be coming back to our for us in our code.
What is a browser driver, Rahul?
Browser driver is like interaction between the browser and the API, between your action command. Okay, so if you will see, go to the, suppose this web browser is there. Okay,
Okay. Uh,
to interact with this web browser, how you will interact? Internally, it is using a JavaScript.
okay.
So JavaScript executor will be there internally in the browser if you want to interact it with, because
Mm.
directly Google don't, I mean, directly browser will not work. Internally it use the JavaScript for you.
Okay.
And
Okay.
if anything you want to perform on the browser, you need to execute your command on the JavaScript on that executor. And to do that with the help of a Selenium, you need the Chrome driver. If you will check the Fire, if you're working on a Firefox browser, you have to download the Firefox driver.
Okay. Okay.
If you're working on an Edge, you have to download the Edge driver. That is mandatory. Without this, you will not be able to, perform the action or perform no particular command on the browser.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm.
Here, browser driver is acting like JavaScript, right? It's
Java,
hidden.
yeah, it's hidden. I mean, internally how it is working we don't know,
Okay,
but
okay,
Okay.
it helps to interact with your browser.
okay, okay. Got it.
So whatever actions we are saying, this will go and perform on the browser and take the results from there, and it will give to us.
Yes, right, correct.
Okay, okay,
This is how internally it works. No one bother about it, but I'm just telling how internally it is working, because
okay,
you will not find anywhere that how internally Selenium WebDriver is working. They will just, if you'll go on YouTube, they will just simply tell you have to open the browser and you run get command. But just I'm telling about the internal explanation how it works internally.
Got it. Got
okay,
it.
Rahul, got
And
it.
internally it works on the HTTP request. It will send the HTTP request, and it will get the response if there is any response is there. It also use internally get command, post command, delete command, all that commands it use internally, all the HTTP request. So it will, we will send the actions, and actions will go in the JSON format over the HTTP. It will send to the browser driver, and browser driver will, over the HTTP request, will interact with your browser and will perform the action. Once it will perform the action, if there is any response, it again it will give back to us. So this